From the Daily Mail, Elon Musk makes bold play for an unlikely marriage with $3 trillion icon. Elon Musk has been openly hinting at a historic merger in the business world, suggesting that his company XAI should partner with Apple. Musk's company is the corporate face of his popular AI chatbot Grok, which functions similarly to competitors like GPT, Claude, Gemini, Copilot. Meanwhile, Apple has struggled to bring its own AI programs to consumers, notably delaying improvements to the Siri voice assistant. Venture capitalists started openly speculating this month that Musk and Apple make the perfect power couple in the AI world, with XAI bringing Grok to even more people using iPhones through this proposed partnership. On the All In podcast, investor Gavin Baker called XAI's Grok 4 the best product in terms of AI chatbots right now, but added the best product doesn't always win in technology. I think there's solid industrial logic for a partnership. You could have Apple Grok, Safe Grok, whatever you want to call it, said Baker. Musk quickly replied to the comment saying, interesting idea. The billionaire added, I hope so. You want to know why I believe this is possible? Why there's a good possibility? Because when you pull up Nancy Pelosi's stock trades, in May, she put $25 to $50 million in Apple. Yep. Indicating Apple would be doing something. And I'm going to stress this. Apple's got nothing going for it. They made the same iPhone every year nonstop for a decade, and people are tired of it. They're not innovating. They're offering up no real new products. So why would Nancy Pelosi decide in May that we're going to do this big purchase? Not to clarify, this is from a year ago. So the report year is 24. She filed it a few months ago. What has Apple done recently that has any play?
I feel like Phil needs to be here to defend Apple right now.
Yeah, he's like an Apple
unfortunately, I'm a Galaxy guy.
Product. It's a sticky product, and it could just be that the stock is oversold. And I'm not saying that this is the case. I'm just playing devil's advocate there and saying that there are people who are Apple users like myself who will always be Apple users because it's the Apple universe that you really buy into.
I think Apple's cooked.
But I don't think that's why she bought it. I'm just making the case that
she knows something.
Oh, of course.
She knows something's going on. Perhaps some intelligence came across her desk where there is murmurings of a potential merger between, say, X or a partnership that would require some congressional oversight or something like this. And she was like, quick, buy Apple. Buy it now. A year out, maybe. I don't know. It's a stretch. Maybe not. I'm just saying she bought NVIDIA. Yep. She knows what's going on. She's got insider information. That's what Trump said. She goes, I'm not into that. My husband is. Oh, yeah. She tells her husband. So her husband goes, anything interesting happened at work today, honey? And she goes, oh, there's a new AI thing. Apparently, they want to deregulate AI. And there's a company called NVIDIA or something. And he's like, really? And he's writing.
He's got a notepad full of notes.
He has a bug on her lapel. And he's like, talk more, honey. And then when she gets caught, she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So I don't know. Last year, she bought between $25 and $50 million worth of Apple. But I don't know. It's possible that her net worth is $260 million. So 25 to 50 is a good chunk of her net worth. Maybe it's the low end. That's still a lot. 10% into one company. Is that abnormal? Big purchase like that? You would know better than I would.
Of course.
It is abnormal.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, that proves it. That's it. She's doing it. Elon's buying Apple. I'm gonna check Apple stock right now.
Well, you can go on what's that app, and you can just follow the Pelosi stock trader, which
that's what I'm on right now. Yeah. Quiver Quant.
Yeah.
It's called the Pelosi strategy.
Yep.
You know, you follow her, you would have made 700% over 10 years.
It's NVIDIA, it's Broadcom, Google, Vista, Palo Alto Networks.
See, hold on real quick.
Tesla.
Hold on.
She like Elon? She's got
Year
Tesla.
to date, Apple is down 15%. Honest question, I mean, maybe it's just silly and it's memeing, but does Nancy Pelosi make bad trades like that? When you look at her record, she doesn't. She's up 730%. Man, she's a prophet. So she buys into Apple and she's down 15%. I don't know. I think she knows something.
It's girl math. She's just like really bad at trading.
Well, to be fair, it's her husband, and because it's their joint net worth, she files this. But I'm just wondering, that's a big chunk of her net worth, her and her husband's net worth.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Does Apple have government contracts? I'm assuming they do have government contracts of some sort.
I don't know. Looks like you can look at what she bought recently. She bought, what is this, Matthews International? What is this? Oh, she sold. Sorry, she sold Matthews International between 15 and 50,000. Was that on a Friday? I don't know. July 9th. Probably taking some money out to go party over the weekend.
Yes.
AVGO Broadcom. She bought between $1 and $5 million on the 9th.
Wednesday.
It was a Wednesday. Ain't nobody partying on Wednesday. Maybe she was getting ready for the weekend, Wild night.
It's DC. They can party any day they want.
No, it's California, bro.
Politics.
Yeah, I guess they're in session. So.
Yeah.
She did buy another between $250 million of NVIDIA, and the same for Google, and Tempest AI. Oh, interesting.
Tempest AI. Yep.
Really? She bought Tempest AI, huh? Huh.
She was in the heart of Silicon Valley, I will say that. But the reality is, and I don't know anything about this new bill that got passed, but unless that they can prove that they had insider information, it's just been pretty much standard operating procedure for insider politicians who have other ancillary knowledge as to what's going on with these companies to then add them to their portfolio's. And that's why so many of them are so wealthy. Should be illegal. Yeah. Absolutely. 100% agree.
Basically, what happens is there will be there's a couple ways they can do it. One is they can introduce legislation they know will damage a company. They'll say, if I announce publicly that we are going to regulate this industry, these companies are going to go down. Short them now. Get those shorts ready. Then we file this bill, or we get some co-sponsors, we announce it. Their stock drops, sell it, we'll drop the bill. You never have to actually even pass any legislation. Or the inverse is possible that they come to them and they say, look, we've got this new bill. Lobbyists from these companies have been saying that this regulation's a problem for them. We want to win the AI race. So we're going to be deregulating, and it's going to benefit a lot of these companies that make GPUs. And then Pelosi goes, oh. She calls her husband. She's like, buy NVIDIA now. Buy NVIDIA. And then she does, and she gets like several 100% off her investment. And then they go, that's not insider trading. Yeah, they just get to make decisions whether or not a company succeeds or fails, and that's not insider trading. That's how it works.
It's depressing.
That's exactly how it works.
Well, that's why a lot of people were mad about this new Pelosi Act, the preventing elected leaders. What is it? Preventing investing. What is this stupid thing called? Pelosi Act. What does that stand for? Let me see.
So you know what SHIELD from Agents of SHIELD stood for, but not the Pelosi Act?
Preventing elected leaders from owning securities and investments.
There's an F, and I was like, "What's not Pelosi? Pelfosi."
George Carlin said it best. It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
And it's the same club they used to beat you over the head with. That's what he said. Indeed, it is. So the funny thing is, Democrats and Holly were on board with this, but Republicans weren't. And I was like, what's the problem? Like, this is weird. Why are the Democrats saying stop the stock trading, and the Republicans are saying no?
Which Republicans were saying it?
Rand Paul, for instance.
Oh,
you know what it is? Like, these guys are like, could you imagine being a freshman member of Congress and you're like, I finally made it. And then they go, oh, by the way, you're the last one in. We're going to ban you. No, that's the whole point. You think I want to work for $175,000 a year? Yeah. It was hard to get here. Yep. But now...
they get pensions, though, right?
I guess.
Yeah. They do. But it's not as nice as being worth whatever she's worth, right?
$260 million. That's crazy.
Just pure luck. Pure luck. She just guesses.
She's a prophet. Yeah. Her husband's a prophet, whatever. Yeah. You see her freak out when she was asked about it by Jake Tapper?
No.
On CNN. She was like, why are you asking me about this? You don't need to. He tried playing the clip of Trump saying she's insider trading and all that. She got mad and she's like, I want to talk about Medicaid. And I was just like, I want to talk about how you're 84 and you should quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you've made your money. Like, you've bled us dry.
This is the creepiest thing about these octogenarians. What do they call it? A gerontocracy? Rule by the old?
Well, yeah.
What's crazy to me about all of it is just what is wrong with Nancy Pelosi's brain that she won't fucking leave? Like, just leave. Go away. Go away, lady. You're 84. Bye. What's wrong with these people? Just get out. Why not? What's going on there?
She won. Be happy. Enjoy retirement, right? Why do they keep coming back?
It's insane to me that something's wrong with these people.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think they don't leave? Do you think they just enjoy exerting power over other people?
I do think it has to be some power dynamic, because I've been wondering this for a long time. People like George Soros, even people like Trump, like what, right? Like, what
access to all the adrenochrome?
Yeah, there's got to be some, chemical going on in the brain there that they keep going back to that makes them feel better.
Well, also, it's like they don't really work that much. It doesn't feel like they're never there.
maybe should, I don't get it. Like, you're worth $260 million, lady. You can eat all the Jenny's ice cream in the world right now. Just leave. And not just her, but a bunch of these other, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. What is wrong with these people? I don't know. Society is cooked. Kids' brains is cooked, right? People aren't working anymore. There's no babies. Our culture is fractured a million ways, and you've got these sociopaths like Pelosi who won't just get out and leave. And then, with all due respect to the boomers, it's not all boomers, I get it, but boomers hold a disproportionate amount of wealth, and they won't give it away. I don't expect them to just give it away.
They want to spend it.
They're living longer.
They want to spend
That's
it.
right.
And yes, the Great Wealth Transfer is not unfolding the way they predicted.
So Gen Z's got nothing. They're going to live in pods, eat the bugs, and you know what's going to happen? Communist revolution.
Yep. It was always weird to me when people would say, like, people will fall in love with free markets once it gets bad enough. I'm like, no, they won't. They will. Somebody at the government's going to tell them this is how we fix it, and they're going to fall in line with that. And
I think what's going to happen is, or I should say, there's a probability of this. Young people are skewing to the right quite a bit. So I would call it cultural revolution. You know, I know that that's got a negative.
That's young men that are skewing right.
That's right, and those are the ones that are going to go nuts.
Yeah.
The government could never be a solution to the problems. I mean, I understand that young people, they feel like they don't have a stake in the system, and so the natural impetus is to turn to it. But if you just look at history, government has never been a solution to the problem. It never will be a solution to the problem. Freer markets and less government involvement is the only viable option. So that's kind of, what I was alluding to before.
I disagree. I mean, the market is overly regulated today, but if we were to loosen up regulations, you are not going to remove the multiple homes from the boomer generation. They're not going to give them away. And so what's likely to happen is, I don't blame boomers for being like, look, I worked hard. I've got 3 houses. Screw you. They're mine. These are my investments. I own stock in corporate securities. They're mine. I paid for them. I worked. Screw you. Well, there's going to be Gen Z guys. I think it's going to be it's looking like a rightward culture revolution, but they are going to take your stuff. They don't care what you think. And they're going to appropriate it for their cultural revolution. And they're going to say, they're going to be in their late 20s, these Gen Z guys. And so this could be 5-10 years, depending if nothing changes, right? And they're going to say, we're expected to have families. We're expected to work jobs. We're expected to live, but we can't own property anywhere. We've got foreign landlords, and we've got an older generation that is living too long, and they've got multiple homes, and they use them when they see fit. You're going to get, it starts with the DSA, but the problem with the DSA is that they're woke and ineffective. Everybody saw that convention they had where they were like, point of personal privilege, my pronouns are actually, can you stop clapping?
They were actually doing this when they were saying it too.
Yeah, and people were clapping and they're like, I have anxiety. You have to do what I want. So young people who are actually just angry because you can't get anything done, we're going the right. Because the left is crazy, it doesn't work.
But those are still the same grounds on which the Bolshevik Revolution happens. For them to do that successfully, they have to have some type of government authority. So it would be, no matter what, even if the basis was right, it would be inherently left. Otherwise, it's not successful and it gets quelled by those that are in power.
I would not be surprised if in like 10 years, there was government enforcement that seized assets from boomers.
And reallocated it.
Yep. Or put it on the market at lower rates or something.
But that's still left, though. It's a left-wing approach to things, is to take somebody else's property and redistribute it.
It's just authoritarian.
Authoritarian.
Depending on the cultural slant of the individuals as they do it, if they're like white Christian, traditionalists who are like, we're going to restore the American dream and the white picket fence, but we're going to need corrective measures, then we would call that right.
But you're not allowing free markets to distribute those resources. You are relying on force or the government or some other means to redistribute those resources. So in that sense, that's
an economic scale. So when we're talking about like the political compass, for instance, right and left don't necessarily mean free market. It just right and left means traditional or progressive. So some people use right and left to mean free market versus socialism, economic. That's the economic scale. The political scale is just like the fascists, the Nazis they're authoritarian traditionalists, and the communists were authoritarian progressives. So it doesn't matter what strain of authoritarianism you get. Some might say, well, that's still left. Maybe left-leaning. Like Hitler wasn't economically right-wing, of course. They had a command economy of sorts. They used cultural force to enforce what they wanted in their production. But I digress. Whether it's left or right is immaterial. I think young people, when, the Gen Z today, there's no way a bunch of people in their 30s are going to be like, I am content with living 5 people in a single unit apartment in New York, as the older generation sold us out to illegal immigrants. They're going to be like, nah, the power's ours now. We inherited this country, and we're going to take what we want. It doesn't mean that they're going to seize and redistribute like commies. I wouldn't be surprised, however, if they say, we're going to take your homes and then put them on a market at a rate per square foot or something like that.
Could it be that productivity just becomes so great as a result of post-labor economics and AI that there's no need for any redistribution, that just productivity is so high that it automatically creates a system where people just aren't working because they lose the right to labor anyway, because AI is so productive. And
AI can't build specialty projects. AI can't open businesses. AI can't handle regulation. If the entirety of government went AI and regulation was just handled by machines, theoretically it could be awesome, because you don't got to worry about committees, meetings, fines, personal beefs. Unfortunately, in the short term, that's not going to happen. And so the issue I'm facing right now is, I ask this question all the time: why is it so hard to get any job done? And we've assessed this over and over again. We need something built. Well, it took 3 years to build this building, and that's insane. It's a field we owned it. Minimal permit requirements, took years, and the issue is no one wants to work, and there's no amount of money you can offer them to work.
that is true.
I go to somebody and I say, how much do you want to do this job? And they go, I'm busy. And I say, sir, certainly there's amount of money that you would take to do this job. And they go, I'm busy. And I'm like, what? I tell people all the time, we're trying to get an exterminator. We have a rotating cycle of warring bugs in this building. It's frogs now. There's the spring peeper frogs are just dang it. Well, it's crazy. We had crickets, we had ladybugs, we had stink bugs, we had wasps. Now we got mosquitoes. And we called the exterminator and they go 3 weeks. And I'm like, why? And he goes, because that's when we want to do it. We don't want to come in. We don't need it. We don't need the money. And I'm sitting here wondering why we reach out to so many contractors. We reach out to so many people and they all just say, we don't need it. And I'm like, well, is there no workers?
Well, that supports my point, though, because a homeless person today has a higher standard of living than, say, the Pharaoh of Egypt. People are so spoiled, kind of what you were saying before,
right.
that
and they don't have kids.
And so if a smaller percentage of the labor force has an exponentially higher level of productivity, there is this potential, I don't know about in the short term, but in the intermediate term, where we're living in this era of UBI and post-labor economics, where the basic bare means of subsistence are provided for people, then anything beyond that is just
it's going to be a pod with bugs. You're going to be eating mashed bug paste in a pod because they're not going to give you luxury. So I was hanging out and we were at this club where they have a fake beach at a lake, and I'm frustrated because we can't get people to do jobs. It's months out, it's weeks out, and they want insane amounts of money. And I'm watching I see all these guys, young men, 20-year-old guys, and they're just sitting there on the beach not working. And I'm thinking to myself, we've offered double rate. We've said, we'll pay you extra. We'll pay you double. And they go, no, I don't need it. And I'm thinking to myself, why? What has happened socially where people are like, meh? Yeah, they're childless, single young men. That's their culture. That's a society. They don't strive for this. And they have no reason to say, I have to make money. Like my dad had to work 2 jobs because he had 3 kids. And so he was like, got to do a double. Has to get done. And then I see a ton of people who are like, I don't need to work, so I won't. So my concern now, you've got a lot of people who live in their parents' house still. It's not necessarily a bad thing to live with your parents, by the way. I actually think culturally and socially it's probably good, but not when people aren't working or trying to create their own families. With no kids, there's no future market. That's just a fact. So you're not going to sell anything to anybody. And as the market begins to shrink, we're going to get, I guess we're going to get deflationary pressures, and we're going to get a strain on the economy where, I'll put it like this: any ecosystem that reaches equilibrium with its principal organisms and its food supply, the organisms are half starving and suffering and covered in sores and lesions because they're getting just the bare minimum of required energy to survive. because it's equilibrium. We need to constantly be slightly below. We need an excess of resources so that we're not constantly strained and starving. But with a shrinking population size, labor is going to decrease, and that means there's going to be a massive older population that doesn't want to work, that has no choice but to work now, and it's going to get real bad because nobody wants to, and young people don't have to. So I've talked about this in terms of the Social Security problem. Right now, I believe it's 2.8 workers pay for one Social Security recipient. It used to be like 5. But with population decline, we're going to get to the point where it's going to be 1 for 1. How are you going to sustain Social Security recipients off of a younger generation that doesn't work at all? You won't. And then boomers are going to be aging, and they're going to be like, I paid into it, I deserve it. And they're going to be like, well, there's nothing there anymore. And they're going to get angry. Young people are going to be like, I'm not working because even if I do, houses cost $800,000. I can only make $25 an hour, so I'll never get a down payment. This is the structure of how Ukraine effectively operates. So young people are going to say, what's the point of working? You're going to tax me. You're going to give it to the older people who already own, their generation owns the properties. So something's going to break, because so it's either going to be before this happens, the government intervenes and seizes properties from people and we go communist or something, or Gen Z goes right wing and seizes properties from people to force the social transition of wealth.
What about starting with seizing properties from corporations? China? Well, China and also corporations.
The argument is that these corporations, many of them are actually publicly traded corporations. And so it's actually, once again, the boomers that own the corporate securities in those holding companies.
That's true. But it would come off as less commie to at least seize residential properties from corporations instead of individuals.
You know, it's going to be real weird when AI takes over and eliminates a lot of jobs. Powerful, wealthy people will own the AI, the rights to it. You know what I was thinking? Did you guys see that, what is it called? Light of Motomora? Have you heard of this? Mm-mm. Come on, this is pop culture crisis. What are you guys doing, huh? You've not seen this? It's a video game that looks identical to Horizon Zero Dawn. And Sony, I think, just announced they're suing Tencent because they basically ripped off Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, I did see an article on that, yeah.
And it was crazy to me because I was like, does Sony own the idea of tribal people with robot animals? Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.